Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
How's everyone doing? How's Everfree Northwest been so far? Thank you for coming out to the Semi-Perfect Podcast. Is there anyone who is new to the concept of the Semi-Perfect Podcast? Great. So we have a podcast that takes place, including the individuals up here, as well as a number of our other friends, Paleo Steno, Jax Blade, Hirosashi, Gabriel Brown. Maybe you've seen him.
Every once in a while he'll show up.
And it's a bi-weekly podcast that takes place on Wednesdays. So every other Wednesday. We just had one leading up to this convention, so the next one's in like a week and a half.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it airs on my ACRacebest channel on YouTube, and then we have a Semi-Perfect Podcast channel. That is mine.
All kinds of treats.
Yeah.
I love it. They save it through the
But yeah, so thank you
They got free wires.
for us. HDMI. But yeah, thank you for joining us. What we like to do here on the Semi-Perfect Podcast is talk about anything and everything. Now, obviously, with the family-friendly realm in there, as much as we'll often stretch that, but not here because it's Everfree Northwest and we're gonna behave.
Yeah.
Because it's the first day.
It's a really good.
Okay, one of the staff guys already left, so now it's just you. You're gonna have to keep us in line. Good luck. But yeah, so this is gonna be driven by topics that you all bring up. But I guess to kick things off here, we'll introduce ourselves. Would you like to start things off?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ACRacebest. To my right is my lovely wife, Toodles. No, I'm Panama Matt. And also to my right, not my wife, is Toodles.
Yes, I'm Toodles, mostly known as Sarah. But I'm his wife, and I host the Semi-Perfect Podcast.
She's really the one that actually makes it.
She runs it.
Yeah. I'm ACRacebest. Hi. I'm gonna go work on camera stuff while you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Saberspark. This is the peppermint, I swear. It's good to see y'all. Does it still feel surreal to be back at the gym? Doesn't it feel like it's like, I don't know, it feels kind of like unfamiliar, but somewhat like kind of familiar?
This feels familiar. Vaguely familiar.
Also, the acoustics are weird in here. You hear that? It feels a bit hollow.
A little bit.
Can you all hear that? It feels like like your ears are kind of plugged or something.
Smaller room.
Smaller room, they'll do it, yeah, cool.
Well, I got off an airplane not too long, but my ears are still kind of plugged. Yeah.
Those elevators.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any people who are like, this is their first con?
All right, well, since he's
All
gonna
right.
let me do it, my name is Laura. Hi. I'm dating him, and he didn't want me to introduce myself. He just made a skip right over me, so that's fine. Thank you. No, you are the best one here. No,
First time at a con? Oh man, of all the time, post-COVID, let's go.
It's a crazy time to do it.
What got your attention when you're like, now let's do it? What made you go, let's do it this one? Okay, is it your first con?
No, that was my fourth.
Okay, word.
Fourth year, actually.
All right, good.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Any locals? This is your first con?
No, my fifth con.
Fifth convention.
All right.
Wow, nice. Awesome.
Welcome back.
Are there most of y'all locals, I'd imagine? Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, let's shoot at the game that Race always does, where he's like, who traveled the farthest to get here? Florida?
I guess everyone's from the US, right? Because they're not doing travel.
That's true, yeah. It's hard to catch someone who's international. What's that?
With RENTON.
Renton. I'm not sure where that
Is
is.
it a city in Washington?
Yeah, it's
okay.
south here, but I think Boeing has a landing strip or something like that.
Yes. Thank
Cool.
you.
Awesome.
Where are you from?
DC and I drove.
You drove from Washington, D.C.?
Dude.
How long of a drive was that, like 4 days?
Like 3 days.
Okay.
In the car.
What was the worst part of the drive?
Just the entire Midwest.
Yep.
So that's not a costume, that's actually what you wrote here, yeah?
To go from like the Midwest and see the Rockies and everything.
As soon as there were hills again, I was like, oh my god.
I broke all of my stuff, so.
Yeah.
Are there any Midwesterners here? Is it as bad as people make it out to be?
No.
What's your favorite part of it where you all
there? I
live?
see you.
It depends on where you're from.
Corn.
What was that? Corn? I could have sworn a different word.
I was next to that and I thought I heard a different word.
What's that, crops? Alright, word. Cool. Yeah, I mean, this panel, once Race gets all of his cameras set up, and he's got like 5 cameras right now. So.
Well, it's funny, I have 2 and I can't get either of them to, It's just, you know what, I'm out of practice, guys. Like, we haven't done this in so long.
So what's...
It wouldn't be a semi-perfect podcast if something didn't go wrong.
That's a good point. Yeah.
How about that timing of this convention, right when like the G5 trailer dropped?
Yeah.
Right? That's also another surreal thing to be like, wow, like another generation. Enough time has like gone by for us to see the first generation arrive, to exist long enough to see it run for what, 9 seasons? How many seasons? 9 seasons. 9? Good God.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the 3D animation?
Before we jump into spoiler territory, one of the things we'll typically do, has anyone not seen the trailer yet?
Would you all like us to like, because for the record, for the trailer, I mean, like,
So yeah, Race and I hate spoilers like more than anything else in the world. And I only watched it because he told me that it was not going to ruin the whole movie for me.
the trailer's pretty chill.
It's pretty good for a trailer, but also at the same time we don't have to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't want to hear it.
Or we can like try to
You
avoid.
like step outside, we'll let you know when we're done talking about it.
Leave your wallets full.
Spoiler screen up.
We have a spoiler screen that we always mess around with, but yeah, like we said, if you're nervous about like spoilers or whatnot from the trailer, I would say you probably don't have to really worry.
This one isn't like Hasbro's trailers for like premieres,
Yeah.
where they literally spoil the villain.
We want you to know who's in this.
It blows my mind that like in
This is the
season
first
2,
episode.
Hasbro was able to keep its mouth shut with like Chrysalis for the finale. So then we're like, oh, it's the royal wedding with Cadence, and then it's like it's Chrysalis. I'm like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. Good stuff.
Yep. No, that was epic.
That was pretty.
Apparently it's the toys for G5 that have the spoilers on their box.
Well, just don't.
That's the reason we want to look for spoilers for like a movie. Look for the merchandise. Like for Godzilla vs. Kong, they're like, who's the other monster? And it's like, okay, we saw the Twilight of it.
Too bad I didn't ask Matt if he wanted.
That's not getting water.
No water.
Okay. I thought about it.
Does anyone have a food post? You know food posts?
Yeah.
I got water.
Yeah, well, so do we. We always ask people at the beginning of our
It's good to
podcast
hydrate.
about food posts and know what people are eating because I always get here's what the water's for. Home, and we don't have time to eat dinner before the podcast starts, so it's like
She's wedding was appetizing. What do y'all eat?
I need to know.
Wait, I have some food posts. I got snacks.
What you got?
Some with Oreo.
One's Oreos.
Hook us up. Here it is.
Oh, nice.
Sarah's like, give me Oreos.
Peanut butter crackers. I don't know if they're.
What do y'all think are better, the thin Oreos or the thick Oreos? Hold on, we need a vote here.
Yeah. Order. Wait, that's tomorrow morning.
Alright, thin Oreos?
Show of hands.
Alright, thick Oreos. Okay.
The regular thickness. The original Oreo. Original Oreos. Yeah? All right.
We're down with the thickness.
Actually, no, let's do the one. I'll take the regular.
No, you said no.
Fine.
All right. We're not just gonna eat up here. Well, should we get into Q&A?
Let's do it. I mean, is there any other kind of like chat with the audience we want to do before we go?
I love you guys.
Does anybody have any burning like thoughts or questions on their hearts or minds where they're like, I'm just so happy to be here? Like, you know, this is an open forum, so if you got something you want to say, gosh dang it, say it. Oh yeah, we'll start with you and then we'll work our way back.
My only question for my future question is, do the questions that pertain to the podcast in that?
No, we can keep it pretty open.
No, I mean,
We can just
the beauty
literally
of the
be about
pod.
anything.
Have you seen how
We want a dialogue.
We get?
I've never seen the podcast.
Good.
It's a bad podcast.
It's
Nora.
we tangent like crazy. It's like we just whatever pops into our heads, we'll start talking about.
So then my question is, what, do you all watch ACRacebest like a derby den or
No.
something?
When you do derbies?
I do derbies. What
I've
your
seen them in
question?
person.
I think you might be talking about low budget TV. Or
Low
sorry,
budget?
low budgets.
Yeah, so you were asking what those are about?
Yeah, like I watched it.
Well, there goes 20 minutes.
How many of you are familiar with the low budget?
Cars go through.
Cool. So I have a series on my ACRacebest channel called Low Budgets, and it all started because at one point my friend Tommy, who's also on the Low Budgets and the guy who do all the low budget TV stuff, which is our racing channel that we cover racing. We were getting ready to do a full-size demolition derby for the first time. We had no idea what we were doing outside of the demolition derbies that we've seen in the past. And it was our first time preparing a car, just the two of us. And we're like, hey, why don't we record this and see what kind of goofy stuff happens? And it was very goofy. I've never seen a car door leak before. The kickoff, yeah. And it just spawned into what became a full-on series of us doing these demolition derbies or other forms of racing, figure eight racing, chain racing.
Yeah.
My wife got into the rear car of a chain race.
In fairness, I think at least 3 out of the 4 other people at this table have been involved in a race with you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Or at least a race at the track.
Speaking of chain racing, Matt.
Oh, so I was behind Tommy. A chain race, for those that aren't familiar with it, there's a car in the front, about 10 feet of chain, and a car in the back. The car in the front has steering, the car in the back maybe has brakes. And you're just along for the ride. And as we established earlier before the show started, I'm about 5'14". And this car was not built for someone of my stature. There was a roll cage and everything, but the roll bar was right here. So I hopped in the back of this thing and off we go, and we were in first for a good while. Was it a figure eight race?
It was a figure eight race.
Yeah. I didn't pay any attention to that.
You couldn't see because your hood popped up.
Well, yeah, midway through a lap, the hood just went whoo. And now not only can't I see because of the roll bar, I can't see anything except the very top of my engine through the crease. And they mark out the track with giant tractor tires painted white. And the idea with the chain race cars, you kind of drift out a little bit. And I nearly hit a few tires already, but with the hood up, I never saw the one that came right in front of me and just whacked into that. And there's video in his thing of my face impacting the helmet, impacting the roll bar, and my neck just snapping back.
I hate to say this, but Tommy and I,
For the record.
Tommy and I laugh so hard when we go back to this footage.
As well you should, because the first one hurt, like badly. The second one I hit made me realize that if there was a third one, I wouldn't be here today, so I just started trying to flag Tommy down.
And
You're in the car side.
You gotta envision this, right? So Matt's wearing a driver's suit that doesn't fit. Instead of racing gloves, he's wearing gardening gloves. And he's hanging out the front of this car because he's so tall with his hands going like this. And everybody in the grandstand is watching this guy literally driving around the track, hanging out of a car going, stop! Stop!
Because there's no way to communicate with the driver. I was just afraid he looked back at some point and said, why is the car behaving
It's
so
art.
crazy?"
It's
It
art.
is.
So yeah. Anyways, the low budgets. Yeah, it's a series where Sarah has painted up vehicles for us to run as My Little Pony characters. May have put some of those My Little Pony characters in Victory Lane from time to time.
There was an auto soccer with the Cutie Mark Crusaders.
There was. We had a 3-car team, so we were the Cutie Mark Crusaders. So we've had a lot of fun with that. Had some Zootopia cars. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of carnage. There's building videos, and then there's the actual events. And we have a lot of cameras covering a lot of different angles on those. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for your question.
And before we jump on to the next thing, you mentioned she was in the back of the car. You did not mention how much of a trooper she is. Absolute champ.
Yeah.
How was it?
Apparently I held on pretty well. It was fun and terrifying all at the same time. We ended up getting third place because we were like one of the 3 left like teams standing by the end of it.
That part.
Well, okay, but like still that's a big deal because
Yeah.
like a lot of cars will either break down or
Or Matt.
will pull it off. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was like, how early was that in the relationship? That was like right after I moved to California?
That might have been 2016-ish.
Not far after, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and she's yelling. This is a good trust exercise for couples.
Yes.
I think we had a question back here. Yeah.
This is for Saberspark. What's it like having a channel that has been relatively successful in moving past pony content?
Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of an open-ended question, like what opportunities is it open for you, how does it felt, so on and so forth.
It's surreal. I never had the intention of actually making it like work. It was just more of like I ran out of steam with the pony stuff. It wasn't like I made a formal like declaration I was done with ponies. I was just kind of creatively just like, what else is there to do? I don't know. And then I did like, cause I remember at the time I was working at like a copier company, got fired from. And I got hired from another one. I got fired promptly like 4 months afterwards. I was like, you have to sell copies at this job? No one told me. But I ended up working as a barista at a Starbucks, and I was so like just down on myself. I'm like, man, college is a waste. Jobs suck. What is there to do? Oh, I have a YouTube channel. I'm not really feeling the ponies. I like cartoons though. I'll talk about cartoons. And then like YouTube threw me a bone, and I just kind of ran with it. That's the thing. You have to be able to identify when you finally get some momentum, where it's like, oh my gosh, finally, I got 10,000 views on a video for some topic or whatever that doesn't pertain to where I came from. And as soon as you get that momentum, you've got to run with it. Because YouTube's like, that's for you. And you're like, I won't let this go. I'll make this count, YouTube, I promise. And they're like, you better not mess this up. YouTube's a vengeful God.
So has that been scary?
What's that?
Having something like that pop off and then having to follow that up?
Oh god, yeah, YouTube's a slave driver. They had the audacity to make some tweet where they're like, hey you, don't work yourself to death, take a vacation. And we're like, YouTube, with your logistics, you literally have a giant red arrow. It's like, you only made 7 views in your last video. This does not please YouTube. Like, they're breathing down your neck, like, how much money did we make this week? So, yeah, it's freelance to the nth degree. There's no safety net at all.
Don't miss the How to YouTube
panel on Sunday. How do you do it? Don't. I mean, there's upsides to it, but it's not easy. And I mean, it's something where it's definitely a grind and a struggle to get that initial momentum. But once you get it, it's like, because it's not like there's just one way of doing it. Because YouTube's a huge platform, and there's multiple types of content and multiple types of creators, and sometimes YouTube's algorithm can bless you. Where like thank you. Like for Black Gryph0n. Yeah, I think Gabe's one of the best examples.
Yeah.
He had a channel that got 200,000 subscribers due to ponies alone.
Yeah.
Then he kind of was like, I'm not sure what I'm doing now. I'll do voice impressions.
Yeah.
He has got a video that has over 150 million views.
Not being paid a cent for it.
He got into the top 10 of YouTube Rewind.
Yeah, it's the most like videos.
He didn't get paid for that video?
Barely cents.
So YouTube's pretty dang cruel sometimes. So yeah, Gabe, his channel went from 100,000 to 4.5 million subscribers. And I mean, it's insane. When you look at the charts, like you see YouTube was like, you really are doing something right, and we'll keep pushing your content as long as you keep doing this content. But then he's like, well, I don't want to do this content anymore. YouTube's like, don't care. So there's a lot. We'll talk more about the YouTube panel later this weekend. But all in all, it's surreal. Definitely blessed to be where I am. But it's like a balancing act. That's the best way to describe it.
Next question.
Anyone? Yeah,
Back left.
This one's actually also for Saberspark.
Yo.
As a military historian, I appreciated it when you went back and looked at old World War II era cartoons and stuff like that, even though some of them can be a little
Yeah.
But and continuing on doing that with other cartoons that are usually used for propaganda in other countries and such like that. My question is, are there any others out there that you might be interested in doing in the future?
Yes.
Like that?
It's tough because despite me being weird with my look at this weird booby cartoon. Oh my God, you two don't fit me. And then part of me is let's talk about this literal studio that Hitler wanted to make to rival Disney back during the Third Reich. And see, Hitler was a huge Disney fan. Nuts. He was I love Mickey Mouse. And which is well, thanks. I don't make folks uncomfortable, but I do think history's fascinating because it's so often that we forget that he was a human and he was a fan of Disney. And it's oh geez, okay. And that's an interesting story to me. To be there could have been a Nazi Disney. It was stopped. A little thing called World War II put an end to that, thank God. But yeah, that's one topic to me because I'm reading a book about it and I'm I had no idea. Most folks don't know that. They don't know that Hitler was psyched for Snow White. He's I can't wait. And they're you're not getting it. Yeah, you cross a few boundaries, Hitler. So yeah, and also for the Censored 11, which is is awful. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The Censored 11?
Yeah.
It is a collection of the most racist cartoons ever made. So much, and this is back with Warner Brothers back in the day, where they're it's fun. And now they're oh my God, what were we thinking? And they call it the Censored 11. And I've watched them, and they are uncomfortable, as they should be. And I would love to talk about that.
Stupid question. Proactively racist or retroactively racist? Were they intended to be racist at the time, or is it?
Oh God, yes. Oh no, without question. There's
I haven't seen them.
There's no. This is spiteful. It's maliciously shitting or.
Welcome back.
I forgot. Everfree Northwest. No, it's because again, going back to your question with the YouTube stuff, the balancing act. No, I'm gonna wrap this question up. It's I want to pursue talking about the topic from an educational point of view. It's uncomfortable, but I think it's good to know our history. As long as you approach it with tact and making sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And giving people a heads up, guys, this is an uncomfortable topic. You don't have to watch it, but it's here for us to know. Better for us to know than to forget. YouTube's no. We don't like uncomfortable. We don't like confrontation. We don't like controversy, so don't. And I'm really? Okay, I guess I'll keep talking about anime girls then. They're no, not that either. Anime, Censored 11. Alright, yeah, why answer your question. Animation's got some interesting history. The thing of it's only been here for a little over a century at that, and so much has happened from when it started to where we are today. It's ridiculous.
Like airplanes.
Like airplanes, yeah. I like how for airplanes, what is it now? North Carolina fights over. There's another state that they're we invented airplanes. And North Carolina's no, we invented airplanes.
The French.
The French do that?
Oh my God.
And Brazil.
What?
Yeah.
Why did Brazil come through?
They claim that there was a man who flew around the air longer and earlier than Flight Brothers did.
I had no idea. If they did, that's awesome.
Yeah.
He fell. He floated for a few seconds before hitting the ground.
Did we have another question in this area?
You got somebody else?
Yeah.
It's not so much of a question, more of a comment saying, you guys helped me through a hard time through middle school, and I'm deeply appreciative that you guys produced all the wonderful content. I kind of fell off with your ACRacebest channel and mainly watched just Saberspark.
You better not have ad block. How am I supposed to pay for my fourth summer home? I'm struggling here. No, that's just, I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but just know, when people say you helped us get through a hard time, those kind of comments are, there's no higher compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we hope that you're better now.
Yeah.
But just know that it's a very human relatability, because we all have hard times. It's a human thing. So to know that we've been able in some way to help out is like the greatest compliment. So thank you.
I'm glad you're here.
To be,
And thank you for watching my stuff. It is better than his.
Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Wait, no, dislike, don't comment, and subscribe. There we go.
I'll be trying to catch up with ACRacebest and everyone else.
All right.
Just watch my videos more often.
I
Come on,
prefer
Lord.
Stop watching
No, thank
his
you.
videos.
All right, other question? Yes. Christian.
Every friend.
So, going on the Disney thing, this is not.
Let's do it.
Disneyland or Disney World, doesn't matter. What is your favorite ride?
Oh, I'm ready.
These people are Disney. I'm actually in the presence of Disney nuts when it comes to theme parks. Especially with
nerds.
Just so we know down to Charlie Brown.
Yeah, Matt, you want to go first?
Yeah.
It's always a toss between two for me. I generally default to the Jungle Cruise, except during the summer months when the canoes are open.
Jungle Cruise Disneyland?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been to Disney World once, so I really can't talk to that. Yeah, I know.
Well, Nora, you're also like
when it's in your back, I'm from Orange County, so when it's in your backyard, it's really hard to talk to somebody going across the country.
It's in your backyard too.
It's 4 hours.
It's Florida.
It's a big backyard.
But I love the canoes at Disneyland because it is the one attraction at the park that if you're really willing to, don't do this, but if you're really willing to, you can commandeer a boat and just take it on your own. Like it's one of the few. It's one of the few unscripted attractions. You are actually involved in it. If you don't row, the boat don't go.
Yeah.
And the guides on it get to have some of the most fun I think any cast member
they have
gets
very
to
good
because
sense of
they
humor.
get to taunt you incessantly.
Yes.
I love their sense of humor. They keep it very encouraging, and I really like that. That approach is not something. It's not something you get at most other Disney attractions. So that's why it hits my
Good answer.
list.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah.
Indiana Jones, Disneyland.
She took mine.
Well,
You can
say
have
the
the
same
same
thing.
favorite.
No, it's not possible.
You said that to me back in the day when we first met at Disneyland. You're gushing about the Indy ride.
Yeah.
Just going, because you do engineering, so you know this stuff.
Yeah, I do engineering.
He does the engineer.
Yeah. So Indiana Jones is my answer. I love the mind tricks that ride still to this day succeeds in pulling off. The ride came out in 1995, and there's.
I think I thought it came out in the 2000s.
95.
Wow, that's
shelf life. And it's one of those where I ended up doing a paper on the whole like ride and Imagineering and whatnot, and when I found out like how they make certain effects work, I was like, this is just ridiculously cool. And it's one that like I don't often like just like throw it out there because for me, I'm also someone who's big about the illusion. So it's like unless like I'm talking one-on-one with somebody, I don't typically just be like, yeah, you know how do they do this? Because it's like there are moments in that ride where you're not even really thinking of like about how they pull it off.
Yeah.
It just makes sense in your head.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, how do they do this?
Are they complicated fixes or surprisingly simple? I understand from an engineering perspective, what they're pulling off. Are these complicated techniques or fairly
It's one of those things where it's like the illusion itself you think is much more simple, but then when you realize how they're making it work on a safety side, like for example, there is a moment where you have a giant ball that's tumbling towards you, and it's like, now how do you do this safely? and when you realize how they're doing it, it's like, no way.
It's pretty clever.
Yeah, it's a very clever trick.
Disney's really good about that too.
Yeah.
Well, that's where like engineers get to flex like their crazy techniques. It's like theme park.
Forced perspective. It's all over those
Have you
parks.
seen any attraction yet?
We saw.
We saw one episode of it on
Watch
the
the
Nine
whole
Mansion.
thing, it's really good.
Yeah. I love those type of shows where it's like that. So, favorite ride?
Mine's very biased. I have two answers. Living with the Land.
Oh my god,
It's so good.
It is a very
I
sim.
enjoy it.
And that one requires like high energy rides to make you appreciate the low energy rides. Because Living with the Land, you're like, man, I'm tired. I just want to sit down on a boat and learn about watermelon.
Wait, how many people here actually know what Living with the Land is?
Is that one of their Disney World rides?
Yeah, so it's in Epcot.
Yeah.
Basically, Living with the Land is you get on this like little boat and you just like it's like 15 minutes.
It's a long ride.
And they just like take you through like all like the gardens where they grow all the food that like they serve in the parks.
Sustainability.
Like, yeah, they're all the sustainability.
They actually set all up at their restaurants.
Yeah. Yep. It's super cool, but it's like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna go on test trek 30 times, like that's not the ride for you.
But that's, and I was gonna say, my answer is test track.
Mine too.
And it's weird. The reason why, very big time like bias, is because like I remember like going to Epcot with my dad, my family, but my dad and I split off in our own group, and it was the end of the night for Epcot, and the folks running that ride said you can just stay in the car and you can keep running.
Oh.
And we went on it like 6 times. And not to sound like sappy, but that was like the last family trip we had before my parents got divorced. So I was like, Dad, that was the last good moment I had before you went off and did your own thing. But I'm like, test track. But the thing about test track is, on a critical level, I'm like Chevron. Why does it have to be Chevron? Because like the Cars ride, which isn't as technically as like crazy or fun, has a lot more personality and branding. Not branding, personality with the characters, with the
It's
cars.
more on brand for Disney.
Yeah, they got
That's
some.
what you're trying to say.
What about you?
So I also have 2, but so like as for just classic Disney, I like Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
And as more of a modern thing, just for like the ride experience, the like flying over Pandora, Flights of Passage, and the Avatar and the new Animal Kingdom stuff. Like I've never been on a ride like that before, so that was it's just so unique that's like it was incredible. I loved it.
There's like a behind the scenes thing for like some Disney Plus documentary for like rides. And it had that one like water ride for like the Na'vi and I guess.
Oh yeah, the boat thing.
Yeah, you got like the shaman.
Yeah, shaman.
We get the shaman character and she's like talking to the screen like you're an actual person. She's like, I hope to see you in Na'vi land soon. How was that? And she actually like turned her head at the cameraman being like, how was that? Was it good? Good. Yeah. I'm like, don't do that. It's too real. Creepy robot evil. must destroy it. All right, next question. You had your hand up. We'll get to everybody. Yeah, sure.
So, going off on the rides, so say there was a My Little Pony theme park, what sort of ride would you want?
A carousel.
I'm gonna call it Riding Through the Seasons, where it's like season 1, season 2, season 3.
That's good.
That's just a checks you out. Okay.
I'm thinking of a variant of the Autopia Disneyland, just call it the racetrack. One person got it. That's enough for me. I win.
It's not a ride that I would want to be on, but something that popped in my mind.
Your main?
Yeah, in my main. Like a Sonic Rain Boom sort of ride, but it's like Superman, where everyone like
Like Space Mountain?
A pendency for Fluttershy.
There you go.
I do. Who here's played Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna pass, y'all know the flying coaster. It's one of the suspended flying coaster, like the little 2 trains. Make a Pegasus ride out of that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be fun. I like that.
This actually could work.
You know the spinning rides they have at like Six Flags? Like it would be after that one Fluttershy, Hurricane Fluttershy episode. They had to like create a tornado.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Dash coaster just like breaks.
You would like that one.
Bubble and.
Guys, start writing these down.
Hasbro Land.
Hasbro Land.
Good question.
Hasbro.
I like it. I like
You have
it.
one?
I don't know. I can't. I like everybody else's ideas. I'm just not creative like this. I can't think of any.
A slow ride with
A train ride.
A train ride.
A train ride.
Oh, you mean the train?
The train.
The train?
Haunted Mansion, but it's just Amy Larson jumping out at you. I think it's actually him. He's kicking you in the leg.
I hate that man.
You can do a just kind of a historical thing, and then you go into a theater and you watch an animatronic talk to you. Great moments with Mr. Copyright.
Yeah.
Great moments, Mr.
Good time.
That's nice to you.
right, next question.
We had some more over here.
Right there.
I think you all are pretty cool and funny, especially you, Saberspark.
Especially me. Thank you.
That's a terrible question.
I wasn't getting it. I wasn't getting this at Bernie's React, so it's good to at this podcast.
Did you have a question in the back, by the way?
Yeah, continuing the Disney theme, what are your thoughts on when Walt Disney tried to create a surveillance dystopian city?
I'm sorry, what?
You mean like Epcot?
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Epcot was weird.
I mean, I do appreciate that, if I'm remembering this correctly, when they were building the area, or at least the entire area of Disney World, they are functionally their own municipality.
Yep.
And they've granted themselves their own privileges, such as, if they wanted to, they could build a nuclear power plant.
What? What kind of ride are they building?
It is good.
We're gonna get the people mover working again.
I mean, but
I don't know about the surveillance stuff, though it doesn't surprise me. I know that at the end of Walt's life, he was
that's called Google these days.
Yeah, right. It's just Google. We have cookies on our website. I know that Walt was like, I'm kind of done doing movies. I'll delegate that. I'm all about Epcot. Like that was his baby.
Yeah.
And I know it was kind of a layout for the future of homes. I didn't know about the surveillance stuff. I'm not surprised to hear that though. I'll look more into that. Is that just?
They were basically, he's designing the city so that they could get perfect families in and then showcase them to the rest of the world.
Well, I mean, he was very pro-America, big time. And I know that what was it now? During the writer's riot back in the day with Dumbo, he's some of his artists were leaving. He's like, fine, go work for the socialists down the lane at UA or something.
Yeah, very anti-union.
Yeah, he was a pain to work with. What's interesting to me is Walt Disney is almost synonymous with animation. He's not that great of an animator. He's more of an ideas person.
Up also made Mickey.
Up is the goat. Up does not get enough credit.
Greatest.
All right, next question. I saw some over.
I think Nora has a question.
Let's hold on for a second. Some other folks will get to you next. Yes.
Okay. So in G5, we have. Actually, I just realized, kind of spoiler territory for the trailer.
Don't you spoil a thing.
How much are spoilers?
Basically the plot, the very basic.
The premise of the world.
Yeah, of it, how it's like.
If it's something that was in the trailer you're going off of, I'd say it's safe. If it's something you read online,
it's been known for a long time.
But if it is solely the trailer, go for it. Because I'm sorry for tiptoeing around, and we know you don't mean any ill will.
Basically, the unicorns, Pegasi, and
you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're split up, and that happened in season 9 finale, and the Wendigos appeared. So what happened to them, and why are they not present?
I think it's a plot device. They're we can't have harmony because we need something to work with. So it feels like they're kind of erasing Twilight's accomplishments.
Yeah.
I know that some of the writers who are working on this show, Jean Barrow worked on G4, she's working on G5. I like to think they have the discretion to know they can't just straight up erase G4. I hope that there's some good, compelling reason of what happened for G5. I want to G5.
So I'm sorry. If I were to speculate, the Wendigos, as I recall, were brought about because of animosity and hatred. They all seem to be getting along pretty well in their own little group. So if there's no hatred between each other, wherever the Wendigos spawned from,
we're happier apart.
I didn't say happier. I just said there's no animosity between the two.
So this is kind of funny, but through the weirdest, I guess, twists of fate, I happen to know one of the individuals who was an editor on this movie. It just kind of happened that way through an association with a family member of mine. And with talking with this editor, they are huge on we want the Gen 4 fans to like this.
Good.
They are. That is a big thing to the staff that put this movie together. And I was like, thank God.
So I am curious, because when G4 popped up, I felt like it kind of happened. As far as the rise of bronies, it happened when the internet was finally exiting its niche form in Newgrounds days and YTMD, and now it was more open waters with YouTube, Tumblr, DeviantArt, and whatnot. Which I know that's something that existed before 2010. But still, you saw the explosion of the fandom and folks being not only are we excited about this, but we can also upload content more easily. And there's better. It's easier for us to like access like uploading art or having programs to make art or whatever. I feel like G5 potentially might have another renaissance for pony fans because I'm looking at TikTok and I'm like, man, there's a lot of pony fans on TikTok. I mean, Mordechai? What the heck? To be fair, that existed like years and years ago.
Yeah.
But now there's
The research.
enough things have existed online to where like new generations are rediscovering these things, and it's almost like old memes are like, old meme from Tumblr.
It's a relic.
It belongs in a museum. Remember Rage Comics? Remember how it gets me where Rage Comics were like, they troll, you know, they meme or whatever. Now we get like the Wojak stuff. And I can't help but feel like 5 years from now, folks are gonna be like, oh, I can't believe I posted that. Oh, I can't believe I posted on Wojak, unironically. I feel that way about, I looked at my old Twitter from like 2011, I'm like, no, I didn't post that, no. I was like, there was a tweet where I said something like, ponies are pretty epic, guys.
And you were right.
I was right.
But you should have said it.
I should.
Yeah, you don't say that stuff.
I should have retweeted it.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. What's the next question here?
Let's hit up Nora. Let's
This is the other question I would have asked Gabe.
Let's hear it.
All right. Which celebrity do people think you look? Do people think you look like?
Which who?
A celebrity.
Celebrity.
Chris Pratt.
Danny DeVito?
Laura.
For
no.
you?
No. Be honest.
I have no idea.
I've been mistaken for Michelle Kramer.
I've been mistaken for the living tombstone.
Yeah.
What's the actor from, was it Firefly? I don't know.
Nathan Fillion?
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, Alan Tudyk.
I've had people be like,
There's a lot of like different celebrities that people relate.
I get some that are less flattering, like they're like, you look like Boris Johnson. Like, thanks.
Oh no. I get that Markiplier. I get Seth Rogen. I get Chris Pratt, first season of Parks and Rec. And I get Jack Black on really bad days.
I've gotten Matt Damon and Nathan Fillion before.
Oh.
I can see it.
Matt's looking in the mirror like,
I get Brad Pitt and Boris Johnson.
So sorry.
it's the hair.
Which one was the other one? Gary Busey.
It's been a few years and I
That
can
guy's
see it.
got teeth bigger than my face. Like,
I feel like you get the worst luck with your haircuts too. Where you like,
Especially when you go on Steve Harvey.
haircut.
well, it doesn't help when Steve Harvey's like, we got you covered for this.
Yeah, this guy was on the Steve Harvey show.
Is there anyone that doesn't know that here? It's okay if you don't. About the Steve Harvey, by raise of hands. Anyone that doesn't know the Steve Harvey story? Okay,
We're on this one.
yeah, I was on the Steve Harvey show as a brony in the Is It Weird section of their show.
And the answer is yes, it is weird, but we like it.
Yeah, and he said, don't change. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I like you.
The video's up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's up there. In fact, there's a great supercut that Jake back there put together.
All right, questions? Yes.
Okay, so, hi, nice to see you all again.
Good to see you.
You're rocking at Starlight.
Always.
So, Grace, this is a question for you. So, you know, you've been going through all your vlogs throughout the whole pandemic, and I'm just curious to know from you, are there any moments from those vlogs that you would often look back and think, damn, did that really just happen? Or, and then you would tell these stories like during the podcast, like you wish you could put in the vlog. Like, I don't remember which one, but you get where I'm.
Is it like moments that aren't actually in the vlogs that like either I wasn't filming?
Yeah.
I know that we've had these moments.
I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to. Now that it's been a couple years since the last. That's ours.
It feels like 4 years ago, right?
It does. I'm trying to. I'm trying to. I may need to think on this one a little bit, but
he's really good at capturing things. It's more of an exception when he doesn't.
I mean, like I know actually one that is often referenced was Bonnie's ACRacebest, because I did not have the camera out for that one when we had no idea. Like we were in the elevator area, in part like a part of the hotel that like no one else was in. Like I forget how we ended up in this part of the area, but it was kind of like out of the way. And yeah,
we tell them?
Yeah, we can tell them.
Yeah, in a summer. Do y'all know who Bonnie is?
Yeah.
Okay, she created My Little Pony. And she was a guest at Equestria 2017?
2015.
2015, okay. It was opening ceremonies, people dispersing afterwards. I was walking with Race and gang. And I went on some harangue about like, I won't make a fool of myself, not in front of Bonnie. I refused. I had a plastic cup. And I threw it at the ground jokingly, thinking it would bounce. The plastic cup shattered. It's like a million pieces. And it happened right when the elevator door was opening. And Bonnie was standing there going, what the heck?
In open-toe shoes.
Yeah, she was wearing open-toe shoes and the plastic all over her feet. I didn't hear her go, what the heck? I couldn't even like I couldn't even summon the strength to look up and face her. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It was like whiplash, where I'm like, I'll make a fool of myself. Instantly makes a fool of myself.
We had spent like
this is a lady bit My Little Pony and I threw a cup at her feet. On accident. And what's it with elevators? The same thing happened before. That Matt's gone. Race had his camera on accident. We had balloons. We were fighting like idiots, like lightsabers. And then I said, wouldn't it be funny if the door opens and Lauren's there? And you see the soul leave my body. I don't know what's with these people who make stuff. I act like an idiot in front of them.
So yeah, that's a common one that's brought up. I mean, there are moments from time to time, and typically if we do miss them, but they're a big enough moment, that's where we'll either during the podcast or during the vlog, we'll still be like, okay, we need to describe this moment that just happened.
Reenact it.
Yeah, reenact it.
All right, questions. We got 15 minutes left. Yo.
If there were like a Hasbro All-Stars fighting game, it's kind of like Smash Ultimate or kind of like Nickelodeon All-Stars. What would be the obligatory starting roster?
Dan versus Secret But Fun Dog.
What?
Yeah.
That's a throwback for you old school birdies. You know what I'm talking about. Tried Sparkle, Optimus. Oh gosh, what other?
Hungry Hippo?
What's that?
Hungry Hippo?
Yeah, what if company sleep?
Wait, is this Hub or is this Hasbro?
Hasbro.
All your listeners.
I'm doing Plotman Hasbro.
Oh yeah, G.I. Joe, you said that, but that's probably...
Yeah, G.I. Joe Optimus.
Yeah.
Mr. Potato Head.
Was there a G.I. Joe movie with the Rock in it? Or am I just losing my mind?
There's one that just came out.
Are you
serious? It wasn't with The Rock.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dude, I saw The Rock in the poster for Jungle Cruise. I'm like, this looks like it's makeup. Like,
have you seen
Alternate Reality?
Not yet, and I do want to.
It could.
And for those of you that don't know me, like the number of movies I see, you can count on one hand.
Doesn't he look like he's like on the Jungle Cruise right now?
Right. I'll have to think about that one.
And he makes all the puns.
Y'all want to answer that question, or should we move on to the next one? Just G.I. Joe.
It's never just one pun.
Only G.I. Joe.
I like how you already knew what you were gonna say.
I was ready. Dude, Dan versus though for the Hub. One thing I really miss from like the old school days of like G4 are the crossover commercials for like the Hub. You got Pinkie Pie talking to Dan from Dan versus, and they had some great chemistry. I'm like, this is brilliant. I love this.
You ship it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dude, Dan versus is like a secret treasure. I highly recommend that show. It is good and criminally underrated.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember a while back though. It was a one-off thing. I thought it was going to be a series. It was like you correcting people's grammar on the internet and whatnot.
I want to see this come back too.
This sounds familiar.
It was a Brony Your Grammar Sucks, which was honestly someone else, and I apologize that I forget someone else. Someone here might know who it was, but someone big on YouTube was doing a
Jack's Films.
Maybe it might have been that where they did just a Your Grammar Sucks by taking comments on, man, this is going back. Like, so I see this sometimes. I'm like, I have a folder on my old laptop that was like, oh yeah, here's ideas for the future. But yeah, it was me and Ed from Acoustic Brony. Right?
That was exactly how long ago this was.
Yeah. And yeah, which by the way, keep an eye on Ed and Jimmy because there's some potential cool stuff coming out in the future. But yeah, I don't know if it was just one of those things where it's like, because literally in the video it says like submit for the next one or like there'll be more.
There never was.
And there never was.
That happens a lot.
And I'm sorry that you had to wait like 8 years to hear this answer of like, where's the next one? But yeah, I just think it was like something that we're like, we don't quite have the steam, or maybe it was like the guilt of like, we kind of just stole this from another channel. It's goofy, but also I think there's also like, you try not to make too fun of the people commenting on your videos that have bad grammar. You know, you're like, I don't want to be a jerk. Leave that to Dan Versus.
Right.
Yeah. Question back there behind the
bar. Saberspark.
Yes.
You know the Mickey Mouse is coming up for being released to the public domain. Will you be releasing a video of Disney and their relationship with copyright?
Right. So unless, I need to look more into this, but I've been told that Mickey Mouse basically, and Matt, you do law, so maybe you might weigh in on this.
I have been known to dabble.
You do the lawyer stuff. so like,
Bird law?
if I'm correct, and I need to double check on this, but Mickey Mouse and Disney, they kind of define like the lifespan of like copyright and IP in public domain, where they keep fighting it and pushing back. Because they're like, we don't want to give up Mickey Mouse. He's ours. And he's like, guys, like you're running out of time. Like you're gonna have to relinquish here soon enough. So
I would love to see the case law. So I practice. I'm a lawyer by trade. I practice criminal defense and estate planning for those that don't know. So I don't do copyright work that much, but I would love to see what potential there is to trademark Mickey Mouse, the image of Mickey, and like all aspects of Mickey, as opposed to copyright, which is designed to expire. Like copyright is designed to give a person that creates a thing ownership of that thing for a period of time, so that they can exploit all the effort they put into creating it. It was never meant to be a permanent thing, as far as I'm aware.
Well, I don't think anybody expected like,
but as far as
moving in this direction.
Yeah, but as far as trademarks go, it is the representation of your brand, which is functionally what Mickey Mouse becomes. So I'd be kind of curious to see.
I feel like they'll pull it off. I feel like Disney's got enough money to throw at this, where they're like, we're working on this.
Well, I mean, you can throw a lot of money at anything, but the question is, what is the ultimate law going to end up to?
And we know the law is very good.
When I went to law school, I did take an entertainment law class, and the professor made a not exactly joke of how long does a copyright last, and one of the answers on the test was exactly as long as Disney wants it to. I put that down as a joke for the test and actually talked her into giving me half credit.
Well, there you go.
The date's gonna roll around where they lose the copyright on Mickey Mouse, and all of a sudden like Disneyland's gonna dissolve, and Mickey's spirit is just gonna be like, I'm free. That's it. That's the whole premise. Was there another question?
You had your hand up.
Yeah.
And then about the better story in the pitch to mama and say the mommy and me and Sarah we went to Mexico.
Mexico?
And after Mexico, we followed to LSU live, and we deplaned down airport to another plane.
So you're globetrotting.
And the mommy said, I can't go to that thing going elevator. No, the elevator go outside, go to the, I say go to the phone elevator, go get into the, no, one chicken so that I lock my voice off, and I'm moving, and mommy moved into the camera, and the one of the habit in the mommy gonna get lost. Either mommy puts the elevator open, and go inside, elevator closed.
I'm just hoping this elevator's not like the Tower of Terror. By the way, that elevator in our hotel, it went down. Terrible.
Oh, that reminds me, by the way, has anyone in this hotel flushed their toilet?
Yes!
Does it not like suck your soul out of your body?
I have not been sitting on a ball.
Well, I certainly hope we're flushing the toilet. Anybody pooping on the floor? Just me.
That was a test. I did see that we also had a couple questions, I think.
We also have about 5 minutes.
Yes. So we'll. Did anyone else have a question over here? Christian? Do it.
Is the half-eaten hot dog channel gonna come back?
If we can find the half-eaten, other sacred half-eaten, detects Brown's like shaking.
Just give it a cheeseburger from.
Or the cheeseburger ball.
What have we done over the last 10 years?
There's something about looking back on like, what have I done with my life? I had a panel in Vegas about a half-eaten hot dog.
It was so surreal. Dusty was there.
What the heck are y'all doing?
And you were there, and there's something about a giant tornado.
Oh God.
Right, more questions. We got like 4 minutes left. Yes.
Oh.
Well, here, we'll do you, and then we'll do you. Okay? Yes.
So, Saber, I was recently watching one of your recent videos of that whole drama thing. I have never seen you cringe
as
hard as that. Just
yeah, I'm with you, bro. That was hard.
Just in basics, what do you think of the franchise? Just apart from that, just what are your general?
One of the most interesting thing to me is like how like there are fandoms that I know are out there and are passionate, but I never was a part of it. I just kind of hear of it, or I'm like an outside like observer, like Ben 10. I never watched that, but like I hear that the passion runs high for that fandom, and they are not happy with the direction it's going. Same thing with Total Drama, where it's like the people have like OC Total Drama characters on the DeviantArt and stuff. And I'm like, dang, it's really passionate fans. But like, I like this show. I think it's got a lot of heart, and it's not perfect. But like, there are moments when I'm watching the first season or the second, I'm like, no, she did not. And I'm like, it's an animated show, like, it's all fabricated, and I'm like, I don't care. I can't believe that Heather would do that. You know? So I like it. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually really getting into it. Because I watched it like back when I was in high school, but now I'm revisiting it. I'm like, there's a lot to unpack here. So I hope it'll be a good video whenever I finish it. It's a What's Ruining Total Drama, which I discovered forums where, and on the subreddits for Total Drama, they're like, that dirty Saberspark's doing the video. And that gets me when people are like, word gets around that making the video, that they actually bring it up. It's weird, it's surreal, but I also feel like the pressure's on. But I'm also doing like reconnaissance where I'm like, oh, you hope I don't mention it? No, definitely not mention it. Yes.
I just wanted to say that I grew up with you guys, and you guys are so cool, and I never thought I'd be able to see you guys in person.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm glad you're able to join us.
I'm so happy, and like, you guys are so cool.
That is all the facade.
It's reciprocated. Like, I think it's really important to like stay grounded in these things. Because so often you get folks who are like, oh my God. And versus like, you know, we can't say it enough. We're so privileged and we're so honored to have you all show up.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a one-way thing. Like, it's a very human experience to talk to you all, to relate, talk about our travels, our homes, our school, our passions, entertainment, Disney rides, half-eaten hot dog. You know? We love this experience. We love it. And it's so, we're so blessed to do what we do. So like, to all y'all, like we can't say enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For you know, thank you so much.
The Podcast panel.
Guys, we're back. Like, we're back. This is a big group effort. It's cool that we've gotten this going again. So let's keep it going, keep it strong. Be safe, take care of yourselves. I think we're doing a good job so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for coming out to the Semi-Perfect Podcast panel. As a reminder, tomorrow we're going to have a new panel coming out called Cartoon Court.
It's good. It's the dumbest thing ever. I came up with it, so that's all you need to know.
What time is that at tomorrow?
What's that?
What time is that tomorrow?
That's a good question, Laura. It's on the schedule.
11? I sure.
Is this a good ad for it? I think we're doing
It's basically a mock trial for a bunch of cartoon cases.
Oh my God.
We're putting like Rainbow Dash on trial. I'm the judge. Matt and Race are lawyers. Sarah's the bailiff. It's going to be so much fun.
It'll be 11:15 a.m. tomorrow here in this room.
Yeah, and then of course Whose Line is going to be tomorrow. So. Yeah, with that, again, thank you for coming out. Semi-Perfect Podcast.
Thank you for
Good night, everybody.
facilitating this. Appreciate you. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Go wash your hands. Call your mother.